fit all the sort of normal marketing.
No, it doesn't fit.
Yeah,
That is marketing.
one-to-one marketing, not mass. Sorry, Jesse.
And I think anytime a new era, if we could be so ambitious, emerges, there's always competing orthodoxies. And right now you have people who are saying social media is this and not this. But we're in an experimental era. And I think Matthew's right, that if you look at sort of the core principles around conversation and community and interaction, that every company, large and small, could benefit from closer relationship with the people who allow them to exist, whether it's their clients, their employees, their vendors, their shareholders. The people who invest in those social capital developments, at the same time, obviously, at looking at the real capital developments, they're the ones who I think will succeed and thrive.
But I think if you're thinking of it as something that, a bunch of people get together in a boardroom and sort of hammer out this plan, and that's going to be your social media strategy and how it works, that's the wrong way to think of it.
Well, I totally agree. I think that, one of the things Google, I think, does quite well is just every decision they put the consumer first. And I don't think Google may be different and kind of unique today, but I don't think that should be unique. I think kind of the marketing development plan and the way marketing is created, I think we're going to see a lot more. I think we have to see a lot more consumer choice and what does the consumer want in this decision. We were at this IAB video day today, and we did a case study on Doritos Guru, and Doritos had just they've gone out to the market and they've said brand or name our latest potato chip. I mean, it's a relatively simple concept, but that's right on YouTube. They used Facebook, they used YouTube. It was beautifully leveraged, tailored to their audience, and and really created something of value for the consumer.
And I think too many companies focus on the tools or they look at Dell, for example, and they focus on, Dell had this Idea Storm thing, and then they had this blog, but what did Dell really do? Dell listened to customers. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's not rocket surgery to say, well, we need to, respond to criticism, or we need to be, and they did it sort of openly and honestly. They didn't, it wasn't a campaign. It was just them responding to customers.
But it did come after Dell Health.
Sure it did.
Right?
Yeah,
so they get burned by saying bloggers are bullshit. And then they learn their lesson, and then
that's actually what made it work. I mean, the fact that there was attention, and they flipped it on its head.
He gets rocket surgery, but I get bloggers are bullshit. Let me give you two examples of recent brand stuff happening in social media. One was Skittles, right, and the whole agency.com stuff that happened with, the Skittles brand sort of using the Twitter page as their homepage. So they did this kind of crazy thing, and they rotated it around different social networks and stuff, but Twitter caught some fire.
So big debate on whether that was a success or not.
Yeah, and the other one, so that's sort of pure ballsy marketing. We're going to put our brand in the social media space
and let people say whatever they want
and do something. Like, they didn't really try to engage in any conversation. It was just sort of we're around it.
And it
the second one,
the
second one is Domino's, right? So Domino's, with their employees loading up. Do you guys know the Domino's video story? Yeah. So, Domino's
who's ordered Domino's since they saw that video?
Yeah.
Two employees doing disgusting things with Domino pizza, loaded up on YouTube, and
enhancements.
Somebody ate that pizza.
Yeah. So don't order the sandwich at Domino's. I think that's the story. But so those are two brands forcing their way into social media. And having to deal with it. Okay, so one said, okay, we're just going to put our brand out there, and the other one had their brand forced into the social media discussion. They're polar opposites.
But you see, that's where the opportunity comes, is where something like Domino's happens. You have to be sort of flexible enough and imaginative enough and admittedly, maybe they didn't do the right thing. I mean, reading off cue cards probably isn't the way to go, but maybe that's all they could come up with. So, but at least they responded.
But what you have is a company like Domino's. So put yourself, you're a major brand, right? This could happen to you.
Sure.
And so many companies don't even bother to think about it yet, to say we need a presence to be able to do something. Exactly. So they try to manufacture the presence after the fact.
Another great one is the rental car. Has anybody seen the video of, it was an iReporter, I think, CNN iReporter, at a rental car agency at the airport. Lady leaves, there's like 20 people waiting. She's going on her break. And he runs after her, interviewing her. Where are you going? I'm on my break. then posts it to YouTube, and then it gets millions of views. So that looks bad for Hertz or whoever it was, but that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for you to jump in and say, whatever.
It strikes me that in this language of opportunity, or in this language of responding to crisis, another way to look at it is to say that conflict is an essential ingredient to understanding how to get into this space.
Exactly.
And conflict has always been something that a lot of brands avoid. That a lot of these campaigns avoid. But that you recognize in terms of really getting down to the root of an issue, let alone having crazy brainstorms, if you could have safe conflict, right? If you could have, the head protector and the gloves, and allow these types of fights to take place, so you can learn what your customers really think of you, right? Or learn how your employees really act. That's where I think there's opportunities.
I get that in terms of listening. I totally. I mean,
And respond.
we got a respond to fresh and talk, just to listen and respond. But the issue is, if that was somebody put up a video, CNN reporter, about how wonderful the service was, you'd have 11 people watching it, 10 guys on the board of directors, and maybe somebody that stumbled on it by accident. But the fact that it was the train wreck is what caused it.
Sure.
So, and that's just human nature. We're not going to change that.
But that's
That's a
video.
marketing
But that's unleashing this army of Davids out there that goes, that every brand is out there now, and they're almost like people waiting in the weeds to attack. So you're saying, so you're a PR expert. What do you do if you've now thought this through, and Domino's, this video comes out? How would you advise your client who has spent tens of millions of dollars on their brand that really what's going on in the kitchen is?
You know what I'd do if I was Hertz? I would say I would have a contest. Say, you find me another person who's done that and send us video, and we'll send you on a trip or something like that. I mean, get people out there. You don't want your rental car employees doing that, obviously. So
what do you now? Again, just so I understand it, because you guys are so into the space. I've just watched that video. I laughed my head off. Lady going to break. Everybody's dealt with it. Thank God it wasn't me. See how pissed off everybody is. Where am I going to serve up this Hertz video of contest that connects the dots? Because I've now moved on. There's another 9,000 videos that just launched. Where do I connect the dots? This is the ecosystem of branding. This is the thing that I if it collapses on us, if we take that $1 trillion of spend out of the marketplace, and right now, by the way, the guys that are just doing this, Walmart and Target of the world, saying, you can't build brands anymore, so I'm just going to continue to charge you a greater tax on my store shelf. It's nothing to do with selling newspapers, online spaces, nothing to do with PR or what we do for a living. It's just about a tax because every brand's the same. You're only fighting on price. So it's, we concede. You want Walmart? I'll give you the mass market. You want your plant's 85% utility? That's where you break even? I can take you to 82. You don't want to go to 82? Then this, and that's the game that they're playing out there. And we're sitting there going, we have to figure this thing out because brands need to get that attention. And they need to get it in a way that's different than price and the front of its display in the store. They need to persuade you why you should buy that brand. And you said it earlier. They need to be an enabler. They need to demonstrate that they're enabling you to get something out of life. You said it's my brand. So I'm going, I don't yet understand. I'm trying to figure out.
But are there no niche brands? Are there only mass market brands?
Well, I think there's the opportunity for Davis to take down Goliath. It's extraordinary because the niches is exciting as the niches that what we just saw with Susan Boyle.
So
there's a phenomenal.
So the new brands we haven't even they may be out there, but we don't even.
But there's not enough scale to generate.
But the Zappos model, right, and the Linux model and the Google model are building the armies of Davids, right? I mean, they may be Goliaths in that all the Davids add up to make them a Goliath. But really, it's a very slow one step in front of the other of rebuilding your attention facility. Because I keep imagining a stage, right? How do you keep people's attention? You do what Simon Cowell does. You build a stage. And you just bring out the freaks and the stars, and you keep moving on the stage, and everyone looks at your stage, and you're a lord because you have the property where everyone's attention goes.
Yes, because you've gone and filtered all this, and you find what everybody wants.
So for me,
show the service.
Property is still a focus of the way the system works. We all know Google, and I don't mean to single out Jonathan, obviously, but symbolically, Google has a lot of property. We all go through them, and in terms of the ad property that they have to allow us to get into those things, that gives them an advantage.